Done podcast. I'm Tracy. It's my boy Mike. What's good with you, Mike?
What's going on, brother? How you doing in these round the streets?
I'm all right, man. I'm hanging in there trying to do the best I can. Um, you know, People kind of are starting to acknowledge it ain't necessarily easy being black out here these days.
Yeah,
So definitely
that's absolutely true.
I want to say peace and love to all my black people that's living through these tumultuous times, trying to come out on the better end for justice. I know it's not easy. Definitely hasn't been easy for me. So just remember, take care of yourself out there. Take care of yourself. That's important.
That's facts. That's facts. I know I pissed off a coon today because I was standing in front of him at work, yelling at how much I love being a black man and how much it just feels great in the morning waking up being a black man, no matter what times we're going through and what's going on. I'm still proud. I'm still proud to be who I am. I still love being who I am.
For sure. We can't stop the fight now. It's moving in a direction I think we all really wanted, as far as justice. Not to say that we're done with the work. Still a lot of work to do, but I think it's clear that people have had enough. But obviously, we have to address what's going on in the world because that's real. But just kind of take it on a lighter note, and maybe not a lighter note, just more of a moral and principle note. Today, we're going to talk about cancel culture. Ding 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 ding. So you hear this term a lot. It goes around celebrities, people canceling friends, people canceling this, canceling that business, this corporation. Give me a take, Mike. What you think? Cancel culture, yeah or nay?
Cancel culture. I think there's definitely certain times and certain situations where people jump the gun. Let me rephrase, where people should be canceled. I'm sorry. Where people should be canceled. But I think a lot of people jump the gun, and I think it's a bandwagon thing that people do too. Like, I had to cancel such and such. What would they do? And when they tell you, it's like, okay, I can't speak as to what's too toxic for you, but some things don't seem to be too bad when people cancel, when people hollering out cancel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your views on it?
So to me, just starting it off, cancel culture is nonsense culture, right? It lends to the it lends to the notion that human beings can't evolve. Now, granted, there are all those cardinal sins that there's some things you just can't come back from, and I'm talking about real extreme things. I'm not talking about saying something, or I'm not talking about you didn't back a morally sound idea. Because again, you can grow and you can learn and you can evolve as a human being. And I think we need to be able to provide not only celebrities, but everybody that space to do so. Now, granted, is there a limit on how many times we could just be like, okay, you growing, you evolving. It's okay, cool, you growing, you evolve. Okay, you still growing and evolve. All right, yeah, that's going to get annoying. So when we start to talk about the consistency of some issues and some things that people might have said, then we might have a problem. So I'll kind of start it off with this, like, because current news. I'm not really the gossipy type of guy, but I'm scrolling social media today and I see, I believe tomorrow or Friday, Nicki Minaj and Tekashi 6ix9ine have a new song and video dropping. So that's kind of been all over the social media today, and people are talking canceling Nicki Minaj and I mean, I'll start and let you know how I feel, and then you could definitely let me know how you feel. I grew up during a time, and I know this is the old head response, I grew up during a time with talking to the police for any circumstance. That's not really cool. You shouldn't really be doing it. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just telling you how me and mine, we grew up. You shouldn't be talking to the police. Tekashi took a route, and I know a lot of people probably know that story. He took a route and did what was best for him. That's fine. But where I come from, those are people you don't really mess with anymore. So to see the industry, I seen a video with Akon. He had Tekashi got locked up remix. So people are a little upset that Akon was working on it. That's just not what I would do, but under no circumstances am I on some shit like, oh, cancel Nicki Minaj and cancel Akon, because those people are artists, right? And I don't hold them just because everybody can't be me. Everybody wasn't raised like I was raised. And I can't say, well, if I was an artist, because I'm not an artist. They are artists and they living in that world. And that's kind of what I'm going with. I will say I'm very disappointed that Akon decided to pass that young brother that locked up sample. A lot of people could have killed that, but it's cool.
Well, I will say this, considering that I'm now an essential worker, I missed all of this. I missed the Nicki Minaj Tekashi. I caught pieces of it, like, you know, through group chats, like, but I don't even know what was going on. And I caught pieces of Akon giving a song to someone I didn't necessarily know it was Tekashi. But I'm with you on that. I don't look to artists for my moral viewings, I guess. The moral high ground. I don't look to artists for that. But on the same token, artists also has a responsibility. So like I said, me personally, I don't look to them for certain things, but they have responsibility. And who I'm going to bring up as we talk about that is I have a nephew who is strictly anti-Kanye West. Like, I don't want to hear no Kanye West songs. I don't want you to mention his name.
He's violent with it too.
He's very adamant about it. So it's just like, well, granted, what he said was pretty bad. His statement was pretty bad, and he made a statement that he believes slavery is a choice. Yeah. Now, whether he meant it the way he said it or there was another meaning to that, that's left up to your own, viewings of it. Mm-hmm. But to say I'm going to completely cancel him for that, I can't do it. And I see why you would, because like you said, like, it's a lot of people was hurt by it. Mm-hmm. But now you're not allowing him the room to change. You're not giving him that.
Exactly.
You're not even taking into consideration he might be just a sick person.
Which he's admitted himself. He's been bipolar disorder, right? He's kind of said these things on record. Like, sometimes I'm not mentally well.
Even if you watch the video when he first said it, if you were a fan and been watching him over the years, he didn't really look like himself when he said it.
Yeah, he was.
Now at the time he might have meant it, but it still was like, yo, that don't look like the Kanye I know.
Sure.
So I don't know if I can completely cancel him for that statement. And,
I can't. I agree. I disagree rather with the nephew you speak of, because I can separate Kanye West from the music. Like, I don't have a problem with doing that. Like you said, it's artists are not I don't look to Kanye West to be my moral compass. Right, so I look to Kanye West to give me the banger that's going to get me through a tough situation, i.e., late registration, the dropout, right? Like college dropout, right? Like these are soundtracks of my life. So I'm not looking for him to tell me, any political stances or anything about history. That's not what I look to Kanye for. So for him saying anything is cool. And again, not canceled. When I think about someone that I've canceled, I can't think of anyone. And when we were talking about this earlier, and this was the topic that we were going to use, and maybe you have the closest one that maybe me and you might disagree on is maybe R. Kelly, but I don't cancel R. I'm a step in the name of love, because that song, that art it means something to me. And when you start to cancel artists and when you start to put them on this pedestal, you might miss out on the art. And I know some people are like, man, fuck the art. He did X, Y, or Z. But then you really got to start looking at, if you're a fan of ancient or historical pieces, these people were slave owners. The slave owners own our money. So you tell them you don't fuck with money because Benjamin Franklin owned some slaves and you cancel them? Like, I mean, so where's the line, right? Where's the line where it's like, no, I'm not fucking with that?
I don't have many artists I don't really have many people that I've canceled. I may not interact with them the same way, but I won't necessarily say they're canceled per se. Like, their role may have changed in my life, but they're not necessarily canceled.
Oh, give me an example.
I mean, you know what? I do have someone I canceled. He's a friend of ours growing up.
I know. We won't say
I did cancel him.
What you're talking about, yeah.
But what he did in my eyes was almost unforgivable. There's some things that I expect of my friends, and one of them is I don't expect a friend to lie to me, because I feel like if you know me well enough, you know that I may not agree with you, but I will not judge you or anything like that. And the other one, he is stealing from me. The other one is stealing from me. And And that's something that happened.
So this is where the
So
conversation gets interesting, right? Because for me, I know the individuals you're speaking about, and for me, those traits were of their character. And so this is something I tell to my students all the time. Well, not my students, but my mentees, so to speak. I always tell them you got to know your niggas, right? And so those things that those individuals did, yeah, those things were in those gentlemen's character. Furthermore, I would give friends, and we've had this conversation before. I give friends a little bit more leeway than I would like a person I don't even know. Which like I said, I don't cancel anyone. That's just not what I'm gonna do. But when it comes to my friends, I'm not gonna put you on the back burner and not fuck with you no more because we had a disagreement or you even did some foul shit. Which I think me and you can agree on that. Those people that we talking about, yeah, they kind of did some foul shit. They did. They had moments of doing some foul shit to a friend of theirs. And I think while that's abysmal, I think the reason that you and them never came to terms on those issues because y'all never had a conversation. Like you said, you kind of canceled them. It was like, okay, you did some foul shit, I'm not fucking with you no more. And that was just kind of how that went. And it was never like a conversation after that. It was kind of like, all right, yeah, that's it. You go your way, I'm gonna go mine.
in this particular situation, I get what you're saying, but like I said, for me, it's one of those things that there's no conversation to be had because
Clearly.
if you know me, if my friends know me, they know I'll give you the shirt off my back.
Know your niggas.
There's
Yeah.
never a need to steal from me, and then do it nonchalantly, like yeah, whatever. So I did it, and like I said, I don't have any ill will toward them. I don't wish them any ill wills. Just nah, I'm good.
Fuck with them. No, I get that. And like I said, for me, I think friends get it differently. So if I did some foul shit, I'd like to think me and you would come to the table and we would talk about it. But I think it depends on the relationship.
But you know what? You said that you would differ friends from somebody you don't know who did something foul, and that's the issue. My issue with certain things is, as a friend, I hold you to a higher standard, and I don't expect you to do some foul shit. So when you do it, and there's a difference between something foul and just something you was being a jerk. That's fine. Like we've done plenty of asshole things toward each other and to each other. And
that's true.
But and that's fine. But now when you just straight foul, like just flagrant foul, let's call it a flagrant foul.
Flagrant foul, that's good.
We're gonna call it a flagrant foul. It's just like, nah, you should have never went there.
That's
and
true.
Are there people who have canceled me? Possibly.
I would say, yeah, you're kind of an asshole at times. So, yeah, I would say, but I don't fuck you anymore. But I think we all have that, and I think that's my point. Is like, you have to have room to evolve. I've done fucked up things to people too. Where it's like, yeah, don't cancel me. Let me get some redeem time in, and let me try to figure it out. Maybe I can make it right. But I think that's a brilliant segue to, again, can't have a all done podcast without talking about what's going on in the country. Right. I am conflicted in cancel culture when I'm seeing a lot of white people that I know doing what it appears white people do. And I am conflicted about, I don't know if I want to talk to you anymore because of what you just said. I don't know if I want to interact with you. I don't know if I want you to around me, my kid. I feel like I kind of just need to get away from you. And I mean, and we could take it a step further. Certain black people saying things via social media or whatever. That's kind of like, that's not really cool for you to speak on right now in the time that we're going through. So maybe in a couple weeks I'll feel different about cancel culture when it comes to some of my peers and colleagues, so on and so forth. Family, definitely family. Oh my God.
So I'm gonna ask you this, just flat out ask you, and like we said, we're gonna mention today's culture, today's climate, what's going on. He was your quarterback for a while, and now he's in New Orleans. Drew Brees, is he canceled?
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. I want to say when it comes to people like Drew Brees and cancel culture, I am not in a place still with Drew Brees to cancel him because there's a lot of positives that Drew Brees has done for that community, and the people of Louisiana know that. What I will say, and maybe this is the answer or the solution to rather than canceling people, is I'm going to look at you a little different. And anybody in the Black community knows what that means. Like, I don't have a problem, but I'm gonna look at you. I'm gonna, look at you through my side eye just a little bit. And it's not cancel. You're not cancel. It's cool. It's cordial. But yeah, Drew Brees got a little work that he needs to do. I believe in redeem culture, right? Like I believe in evolution culture. Like Drew Brees totally in my mind has an opportunity to come back and be the stand-up guy that I thought he was. Because again, we don't know these individuals, but I always thought Drew Brees was a stand-up guy. Was his comment stand-up? Absolutely not. But no, Drew Brees is not canceled for me, but I'm definitely looking at him a little funny style based off his comments about the flag and never disrespecting, which it just doesn't even make sense. Like, bro, you must be so out of touch to even make that statement because that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You're just saying stuff.
Well, here's where issue comes in. Nobody asked him for that comment.
That too.
I mean, he might have been doing an interview. I don't know. But to say that, it's just like, yo, what? What are you talking about? I think Shamar Moore made a comment recently, too.
He did.
Saying I'm black, but I'm white, too.
And I'm proud of both. Something to that phraseology.
But honestly, I actually told somebody today at work, like, when you get pulled over, you are still a nigga. I said it just like that to the brother at work.
That's true.
I'm going to get off a little off topic, but the brother said to me at work, he said, yeah, I'm black on the outside.
And listen, wait, before you continue, black people, I get it. People walking around you saying shit like that is like, nah, canceled. I don't want no parts of what the fuck you gonna say next. I understand cancel culture. I just want to believe in a higher humanity that people can say something like that, get new information, and make better decisions. Maybe I'm the fool. That belief in morality might make me a fool, but that's just where I'm at this moment. I might be evolving myself.
And I didn't know what type of time he was on when he said it. So, I was actually in a great mood today for some random reason. But so I asked him, I said, so what are you on the inside? He was like, well, I'm a lot of things. And so that was an interesting conversation. But like I said, like getting back to Drew Brees, he made an apology, and I actually didn't listen to his apology. I didn't really want to hear his apology. Whether he was sincere or not, some people think he was sincere in his apology. Some people say he wasn't. I like the fact that he made an apology. Like some people say stuff and just try to justify what they said. He apologized. But what really resonated with me was his wife's apology. Did you read her apology?
I did not see her apology.
She had, and I'll remember to email it to you. She had an apology, and in it, she was speaking to white people and said, people like us are the problem. And she spoke about her husband and, said, anybody that knows us would be appalled with the idea that we have a racist bone in our body. But when I thought about the statements, she pretty much said it's not good enough for us just to teach our kids that, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and, these different people fought for equal rights because blah, 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 blah. She was like, that's not
Malcolm. They ain't talking about Malcolm, but I get what
I want to say she mentioned Malcolm, bro.
Really? You think they teaching about Malcolm?
I don't know if I said she mentioned Malcolm. I don't know what they're actually teaching now. I don't know what they actually teaching, but she mentioned Malcolm. And like I said, I'll send you a quote. And but she, I was more impressed with that. And she, that's what I need. And I'm not canceling white people as a whole. No. Some people may feel the need to. Some people don't. But I'm not. But in her apology, that's why I can't cancel out everybody. And it wasn't even an apology necessarily, but it was a statement saying like, I didn't know, not that she didn't know the injustices were going on. She didn't know, I'm losing how to word this. She didn't know she wasn't doing enough toward them. She thought she was doing enough by teaching her children it's wrong to be racist or, they fought for this, and that.
That's her privilege.
Yeah, and she spoke about that. She's like, we just think that, as long as we're doing our due diligence, we're doing our part by teaching it.
Sure. To my kids, to her immediate.
Yeah, I'm doing my part. So, and she said, people like us, and once again, whether sincere or not, the fact that she said it is huge. She said, we're the problem, or we're a part of the problem.
No, and I think that's big to state. And the other thing about Drew Brees is his family has been apologizing. I'm watching Shannon Sharp's debate show. Drew Brees reached out to Shannon Sharp and had a conversation with him about those comments. So Drew Brees is trying to make it right. And I again, you said what you said, and time will tell. A couple of his teammates I know have come out and said that wasn't cool. And then a couple of them after his apology said, "Listen, he apologized. I'm a Christian." I know Mike Thomas said he's a Christian. He's going to accept that apology. Again, I think you really gotta. Cancel culture is tough because you can't just cancel everybody. Drew Brees has an exemplary record. Right? He was Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like that's not. The man has done work in his community, in the community that, well, not his community per se, but the community that he plays football in, and to the people in that community that revere him. So I think it's important not to just kill him over one mistake. And true, it was a mistake. He fucked up.
Yeah.
He spoke out of turn, he spoke uninformed, and it was just, it was unfortunate that he had to take that. But with all that being said, maybe you're not canceled, but Drew Brees got to hold that L, as we like to say. You gotta hold that L for a little while.
Hold that L,
hold that and just sit with that for a little while and think about it, and then come back and be a better version of yourself, trying to help all these people out here that really need it. The other one that I think is a good segue is since we're on the NFL, is Hove. Not too many months ago was canceled.
You canceled him?
Hell no, I ain't canceled.
I didn't cancel him, but he was canceled.
Again, that's you can't take, like, the Blueprint, Black Album. This is music. I don't know Jay-Z, but Jay-Z raised me, especially growing up in a single mother household. If you listen to Jay-Z and you listen to some of those artists that we grew up listening to, you could listen to that and that could give you a moral guide on how to be okay. Like, you didn't need a Pops, because the Black Album would motivate you. It would give you game that maybe you didn't get from that male figure in your life. And so some of that stuff is, in my life, you're not going to touch it. And that's okay. I can separate that content from the artist. Even with that said, I still didn't cancel the artist Jay-Z, because, again, we've got 20 years of good business and looking out for the community. And now all of a sudden, because he sat down at the table with the NFL, we are supposed to look at him and say, well, why are you doing that? Well, I think in the interest of humanity, we are trying to do. That's the point, right? Like, when we look at the concept of America, we want a place where Jay-Z can sit down with Roger Goodell. That's the country we want to live in.
That's where I was going to get to. Like, you know what? I may not have known the direction he was going with sitting with the NFL and Roger Goodell and whatever contract he signed, but his track record shows he does a lot of good things for our community. He does a lot of good things for a lot of communities, but he does a lot of good things. So I looked at it as, you know what? He got his foot in the door. He's going to make some sort of change.
Let's see.
Now, granted, he was canceled after the statement he made. What did he say? We're beyond marching, or we've knelt already. We're beyond.
He said we are beyond kneeling.
Yeah.
Which, if you grew up with the artist, or if you grew up with the content, and if you're just seeing Jay-Z for the first time and you're not a fan, when you hear that, yeah, you might feel like, get the fuck out of here, ho. That's bullshit. But if you know the art and you listen to the music, you understand that the man is always into pushing the envelope. And so he also understands, and I can agree with him on this point, is we are past kneeling. Because kneeling is not enough, right? Like, there's something after that. And that's what he was, maybe too soon for some people, right? Because healing is a process. So maybe he said it too soon, in a point where Kaepernick was being maligned and alienated from the NFL. And I mean, now it turns out that Cap is a brilliant genius, and everybody has to kiss his ass at this point. So
yeah.
We can get into that, but again, I understand where Hope was coming from, because it's about pushing the envelope forward. Kneeling is the first step, and so all too many times, especially in our movements, we kneel or we protest or we do something, and then the energy dissipates, and then that's the end.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think that's where he was coming from. It's like, don't let kneeling be the last thing we do. To me, that's what I got from it.
That's what I got out of it as well. That's actually a great point. That's what I was gonna say. Like just like we're at a point where we're beyond marching.
Oh yeah.
We're beyond praying that it gets better. We gotta keep moving, and I can't cancel any anything for that reason. So I can't cancel him for that reason. And like I said, I just want to so that's why I wanted to talk about cancel culture. I'm gonna tell you somebody who I have canceled, and I didn't know him before he did what he did.
You got one? Go ahead.
The Mississippi mayor,
Oh,
Karl
thick neck.
Marx.
Thick
Yeah.
neck. Yeah, thick neck.
Like in my opinion, he's canceled. And like I said, I didn't know him before this because contrary to popular belief, Mississippi is not just a one town place. So he's about roughly a mayor in a town that's roughly 3 hours from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I live here in Jackson, Mississippi, but I don't. He's canceled, and he's canceled for this reason.
Go ahead.
He's canceled for this reason, not because, well, partially because of what he said.
Mm-hmm.
He have yet
What did he say? What did he say so people know?
To sum it up, he pretty much said, if you can't breathe, you wouldn't be able to talk, or something like that. Speaking on George Floyd.
Very disrespectful to George.
Very disrespectful.
Absolutely.
And in saying that, like I said, that was bad enough. That was horrible. So, but that's not what made me cancel him. He has yet to apologize for what he said. One of his statements, he said, "Oh, I thought my friends that knew me would back me up in what I said." What? And once again, we're at the point where, like we spoke about, Brittany Breeze saying, "Well, we're part of the problem." We're at a point where white people are pissed about what you said.
Yeah, at least on the surface, and we can get into that in a later podcast.
We can definitely get into that on a later podcast. But white people are pissed about what you said, so yeah. He's somebody that's canceled as well. Like I said, I didn't know him before this, so it's not hard for me to cancel him.
Sure.
But definitely. So there's certain things. So you can be canceled if you're not trying to grow from your actions. If you're not trying to move on from your action. If you make an action, if there's an action and there's no remorse for it, I have no choice but to cancel you.
So here's where I would say I differ when it comes to canceling politicians, because if that's the case, then come on, our president is canceled. That seems to be, obvious. If people, Donald Trump is canceled. The thing about canceling politicians is that's not the way the game is played. And I think that's another problem that I have with cancel culture is, especially when it comes to canceling politicians, is let's just say I cancel Donald Trump. I'm done with him. He's the president, right? So yeah, he holds political office. He's gonna make, executive orders. Like he has his finger on the button, so to speak, right? Yeah. So it's to me, it's almost impossible to just be like, no, I'm done. I'm tuning out, because that's almost what he would want.
Right.
Same with that mayor. It's like, yeah, I want the black people to hear what I said, get disgusted, and just tune out politics, so I can kind of finagle this shit and do kind of whatever I want to do in the political arena. So I think with politicians, I think I am of the complete opposite of cancel culture with politicians. I am on like, I don't give a fuck if you say the dumbest shit ever. I'm still gonna keep, my foot on your neck and kind of keep your feet to the fire, because you're a public servant. And I think in our country, that's a good segue, is like police officers, politicians, you're here to serve the public. You're not here because like, oh, God,
people.
Yeah, I just feel like being a politician. Like, no, that's not, bro, you have a job to do.
Yeah.
Taxes, right? Like, you have a job to do. Public servants need to shake this individuality thing. You're not an individual. You are a public servant. Your job is to be there for the people in any way that you can. And I think a lot of our public servants have kind of lost that. And I think that's why you're seeing across the country, police are on the brink of being canceled, literally, with money. Like, people are taking away money from the police.
That's where you get change from, by the way. When you start hurting pockets.
Oh, yeah.
When you start hurting pockets of money, you
and I think that's and I think what I'm saying is really supported by, I don't know if you saw the NYPD, I think he's a chief or detective, whatever the fuck he is. And he was in front of them people talking about, this tin still has its shine, and there has shine too. Stop treating us like thugs and show us some respect. You seen this video? What I'm talking about?
I missed that video. Like I said, I'm
Oh my God,
now, so I'm back.
I almost got to pull it up because it's like the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. But basically,
I got something to say.
All right, go ahead.
A lot of people are not gonna like this, and I am not. Donald Trump doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna say I like him, but he's amusing.
You are right. People are not gonna like that.
People are not gonna like that. He's amusing, but here's why I say he doesn't bother me. He's the same person he's been for the last 12 years, 20 years. He has not changed. So what did you expect to be different? That's why he doesn't bother me. Now, what's more scary is the people that put him in office. That's a little scary.
That's the whole point. That's been my point from day one. I don't give a damn that Donald Trump is the president. I care that millions of Americans thought that was a good idea.
That's a little scary.
Terrifying.
But yeah, so I just wanted to say that as you looked for the video or whatever you were looking for.
No, I absolutely have to. I'm gonna play it from my phone because I think it's hands down one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And it just speaks to, again, you're a public servant. Like you don't get to demand respect. I think that's what stood out the most to me is that you need to show us some respect. No, we don't. No, we don't. If we don't, you still need to do your job. Like what do you mean someone needs to show you respect? You sound like a grade schooler. I want my respect. You don't get no respect. And if you don't, he threw a tantrum. Well, I'm gonna play it right now. CNSnews.com.
By someone in Minneapolis. It's still got a shine on it. And so do theirs. So do theirs. Stop treating us like animals and thugs. And start treating us with some respect.
Sounds like something I can relate to.
That's what we're here today to say.
I can relate to it very well.
Left out of the conversation. We've been vilified. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Trying to make us embarrassed of our profession. 375 million interactions. Overwhelmingly positive. Nobody talks about all the police officers that were killed in the last week in the United States of America, and there were a number of them. We don't condone Minneapolis. We roundly reject what he did as disgusting.
I feel like I need a violin.
It's not what we do.
Some Shania
It's not
Twain.
what police officers do. Our legislators abandoned us. The press is vilifying us.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what, guys? I'm proud to be a cop. And I'm going to continue to be proud to be a cop until the day I retire. And that's all I have to say.
It's like the worst. It's like, again, just like some white people just missed the point. It's like we're saying something and then you're hearing something and then it's like somewhere in between there's a disconnect. And it's sad because, like, bro, you're defending stuff nobody's even. Who's talking about that? You know, people don't like good cops. That's where my issue has come. Speaking of canceling the police, my issues the last about week and a half have come from. I've had to hear about how many good white people there are, how many good cops they are. That shit is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a fuck? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody said there weren't. It's like a random fucking statement of insecurity that because we're now holding some of the bad people responsible, that you need to put out there that I'm not. Remember now, I'm not one of them. Those bad people don't cancel me. It's like, it's almost a disrespect to everything we're trying to say to even have to come out and give a press conference like a goddamn child and talk about how you need to be respected and you don't want to be vilified. And like I said, mind you, a lot of those things that he was talking about, black men vilified, by the media, not respected by the police. Like, I mean, I don't advocate any violence, but taste your own medicine, man. I don't have to ask you how it feels because I know it doesn't feel good because that's been the majority of my life.
I've been called a thug and so many different things my whole life. So, you know, because of a quote unquote few bad apples.
Hold that L.
And you know what? And in response to him, so hold the people accountable that's making you look bad.
That's a solution.
Instead of hiding behind that quote unquote blue wall, hold the people accountable. And even with that being said, like I said, with us, we talk about getting our own society, you know, starting our own society away from the dominant society so we can grow and we can prosper. But within that society, there will still be systems of accountability.
And we will have to hold people to that.
And we will hold people accountable. So us wanting to separate from the dominant society is not necessarily so we can do what we want. It's so we can grow like we want. But there's still rules. There's still a code.
Facts.
And you guys are law enforcement and you hold a code, but that code doesn't, there's no way that code doesn't say stop killing people for no reason.
That's what I wish he would have said. It's kind of like when you hear that press conference, you got all these white cops standing behind him. And I examined the press conference to see how many black cops. I didn't see one. That's besides the point. When you watch a man like that with some authority give that type of press conference, it's like, what's going on, man? Like, how disengaged are you in a community where you don't understand that it's not about you not being a good cop and 375 million interactions, mostly positive. I mean, because when you say stuff like that, you put a price tag on lives, right? And I know, and I think, based off the people that I've talked to that are my friends that are cops, they do have a threshold in which it's okay to like lose a few lives. And I think to the common society and the public is like, no, even one is too much, especially if they're innocent.
I don't want to say okay, but that's understandable if we're fighting a war, like we're going to lose lives.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be a war in everyday society, right?
But when it comes to everyday society, that I'm gonna use this as an example. Like I said, I've spoken many times about, you know, my job. I build dashboards for a certain vehicle. That's like me saying, well, we built 300 trucks. There was 298 good ones. One or two might not have an airbag in them.
And people died. And then you're gonna come and give a press conference and say, we built good dashboards. We deserve respect. Like,
298 was good. The two that they died in, that's pretty much what you were saying.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And you know what? Just be a little transparent with myself. I said that at work before. Like, what? I missed what? Well, I built 200 good ones, so, you know, I got great numbers. Is that wrong? Yes. What have I done with an airbag? No. Never done it with an airbag.
Yeah, and Chris Rock said that too about, you know, you can't have bad pilots. Like, you can't be like, oh, we landed 99 planes, but you know what? There was that one pilot, he was tripping. And you know what? We lost some folks. Like, that's not okay. And then to have that be the reality, and then that airline or whatever come out and make a press conference and be like, we've landed 99 other successful flights. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Where are you at? Bro. Are you with us here on planet Earth? Because that's ridiculous. We're talking about people dying. And now you want to talk about, and again, he did mention that a number of cops have died in the last couple weeks. And I want to say, nobody's condoning violence. Nobody wants police to die. I think within our system, there is a role for police officers to protect the public. And I think I would say, okay, there's a few of them that do that, do an okay job at it. I think the problem is when the public is starting to hold the rest of y'all responsible who aren't doing a good job. Now you have maybe even a few good ones that were in that press conference. Now y'all are tainted too. So any police officer who was in that video standing behind this dude ranting and raving like a 6-year-old, if you're a good cop, you just got deemed a bad. You just fucked up. You just fucked up. Because now you did that video. My question to that gentleman will be, what was the purpose? What did you solve? How did you mend the broken relationship between police officers and the public? in the Black community, I should say. You didn't. In fact, you made it worse. That made it worse. That whole "you're gonna give us respect," I'm not gonna give you shit.
That shit's earned.
Facts. And you know what? My tax dollars go to paying your salary, so I don't have to give you respect. I pay taxes. I don't give you respect.
And that's really the issue when it comes to police. They think because they throw in that uniform, you have to give me respect. No, I don't. Now, me personally, will I? Sure. But I give everyone respect.
In certain cases. Because I've been dickheads to cops because they're dickheads to me. And again, I am the civilian in the situation. And so if anyone's owed respect in the situation, it's me. Because you're here doing a job. And you should respect all citizens. And it really does tie into cancel culture because I think we are on the brink of possibly really changing what policing looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset about that.
I'm not either. Like I said, in to another response to what he said, we're not dumb. We know there are some very good cops. We know cops once they take over. I have good friends that are law enforcement officers.
We all do.
And I've had a discussion with them about, well, why don't you speak on what's going on? And that's a whole nother podcast because I've asked that question.
Sure.
And, so we're not dumb. We know there are good cops. But you know what? I expect that same thing when y'all out here killing us for no reason. Like not every Black person is bad.
And we don't get that benefit of the doubt at all.
We don't get that benefit. We get treated as you walking up to my car, you unbuckle your holster. Every time.
So you want something you're not willing to provide, Mr. Officer. You want to respect, you want a benefit of the doubt that you're not willing to provide. And again, I have no obligation to you. The moment you signed up to be a police officer, unfortunately, yeah, some cops are going to die, right? You might die in a random traffic stop. But to take that and use that as justification of like, I'm going to harass and walk around with a hard-on for the entire public society because there's a possibility there might be a couple bad people out there, you shouldn't be a cop because it's not for you. And I will admit, tough job, but we all got tough jobs. Tough job.
It's a tough job, but it just, like you said, it might not be for you. If that's a tough job, that's fine. Everybody's not meant to do it.
Yeah, so you got to get about that force. And I think we need to hold them to a higher standard, and we can get into the education it takes to become an officer. And it's a very simple process, which is somewhat also alarming to me. But wrapping this up, man, another episode of the All Done Podcast. Give me the last thoughts about cancel culture, and what would you do to, because obviously cancel culture is a real thing. People are canceling people out here, even if only for a couple weeks. On to the next thing drops. So what would you say? Last thoughts about cancel culture.
So with me, the cancel culture, and my last thought is actually going to be one of the best cancel of all times, Nino Brown. You feel me? Nino Brown.
Get another.
Can't cancel that bitch. I'll buy me another one.
If you
but
don't know
on a serious note,
you gotta
allow people that room they need to grow, and you don't necessarily have to be with them as they do it, but understand that people need that room to grow. People make mistakes. People make mistakes all the time. So don't cancel them out as a person. Don't call them. Don't just, I made a mistake one time. Give me the room I need to grow from it.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you don't necessarily have to be in my life at all. Anymore. But don't go and make a world hate me for one mistake I made. Give me the room. And now, if you give me that room and I don't grow and I don't change and I don't evolve, then then you cancel me. But allow people room and space to grow.
No, that's a good point. I would say my last point about cancel culture, I will mention cops because I think right now it's a very important topic. Mm-hmm. And moving forward, I think police, you have the obligation is on you. It's not on the public. And I think that needs to be very clear. So police, if you're looking to not be canceled, in this storm that our society is going through right now, you need to make the effort and you need to understand where the obligation lies to do the right thing. It doesn't rely on the citizen. Right? It's not the citizen's job to make it okay for you in a traffic stop or make it okay for you. I mean, obviously, you're pulling up to these situations, pulling up to people's houses in some of their darkest moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you signed up for. So you need to take responsibility for that, and you need to do it the right way.
Right.
And that's the biggest advice I would give to police right now is stop playing the victim. You're not the victim, right? So if I was a PR person for the NYPD, I'm going to go ahead and say, man, tell old boy to chill with the press conferences because that's not the way to go. It's not the way to get the trust back from the community that you lost, right? Take responsibility. You lost the trust from the community. And I am on board for you doing the work to get it back, but recognize you need to do the work to get it back and do the work. And then we can move forward. So on that note, man, there's another great one. And this podcast is all done. Get us out of here.